say you answer to some sort of authority. They only want me dead because I'm an embarrassment. Because I do what they can't. What kind of authority is that?
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and that's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom. Only freedom. It means you have to let other people be free, even if they disagree with you. I had a tremendous admiration for the courage of those two communists who had the guts to walk up with their little communist sign and their communist flag. Two of them, young people, all alone, in that sea of America, militia, uniformed patriots. And I saw people who wanted to kill them. You know, I don't like their philosophy. They're misled, misguided. Communism is a terrible thing. But they had guts. And I had a great respect for them. And I believe in freedom. Which means there is no way in the world that we could have had that meeting on your State House grounds this morning unless they had the right to do what they did. Then you had better understand that. Because if you stop them from having their freedom to make their political statement, you have stopped yourself. You have stopped everyone. And that must never happen in this country. It must never happen in this country. Because if it does, there'll never be another congregation like this, and you'll never hear me speak again because I'll be dead. And so will most of you. This country's about freedom. Because only with freedom can you have all of the other things that everybody professes that they want. It's the only way it can be done. I hear all kinds of misconceptions and misstatements. I have the freedom of the press. No, you don't. No, you don't. The man who owns the press has the freedom of the press. And he can say in his press whatever he wants, but you can't. That's why I get angry with Americans when they say, the Jews control the press. Who sold it to them? How'd they get it? You want the press? Start a press. You want to be on the radio? Do it. But stop whining. Stop bitching. Stop complaining. That guy that owns the press, that's his press. He can do with it what he wants. Just like you do with your car what you want because it's your property. He doesn't owe you anything unless you've got a contract with his signature on it that says he will print what you say. If you can't produce that, he doesn't owe you anything. That's America.
Yo, stop being a little hoe, cause we back for more. Go deep. Episode 247, guys. Man, I hope y'all like that intro. Y'all have seen that intro like 3 times. I posted each level of me building that intro. Well, not each level. I just posted the visible levels of me building the intro. I posted. Y'all have seen it. Y'all have seen it. Godeep episode 247. I hope y'all like that intro. That intro was fucking titled "The Death of America," but as you see at the end, we ain't gonna die, because, you know, we still thugging out in the end, like the comedian was thugging. You saw how I reversed that shit? Started that shit with the funeral, ended that shit with the thugging. Because that's what America gonna do. They think we about to fall in this bitch, but we ain't. You know, that's what we here for, you know? But 247, we about to start this bitch. It's gonna be a great episode, hopefully. Gonna be a quick episode, I think. I don't know. But let's get into some music. Then we'll come back, I'll talk, and then I'll drop some shit. You bitch.
When I say killer, you say on me. Killer! 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 When I say killer, you say on me. Killer! Killer! Yeah.
I made it all like Shakespeare's dramatic poetry. Realism, like prism, get up in them. I spit vocalism that numbs the eardrum. Shadar nemesis, lyricist who knows the genesis. Wu-Tang apocalypse, fourth disciple cussing like your wrist. Soldiers in the rain, civil war pain. Blast you in your brain. Pretty boy uniform is stained into the trauma center. Off-beat style inventor. Weak MC preventer, mask avenger, ninja. Yo, what up? This right here is an explosion for all the radio stations across United Nations, United States. Hold up, turn this up right here. Hey yo, it's the craze. Hey yo, originators became gladiators, guard body regulators, with street educators. I was born through the womb of Linda G. Hamlin. She's the creator of the Terminator, Ninth Prince Rhyme Slayer. Stapleton housing projects, razors, machine gun blazers at your neighbors. Jamaican rum no chaser, #1 contender. We can bust guns after dinner. Last man standing, he's the winner. Ghetto Prime Minister, Desert Storm, Ski Mask Avengers. We move like ninjas in the winter. Brown skin Adonis, slugs to the stomach, blood gush like Ramic. Madman's bionic, check the weather climate, strike like lightning. Terrorist Islamic, a ghetto superhero like Marvel Comics. Vertical limits, fresh notebooks, I write anthems for Crook's image. Cross the line to scrimmage, I shoot you in your temple and leave your face shattered with dimples. Killer arm could never be so simple. Cross my heart and won't die till your ass is crippled. In the wheelchair, kneecap raps, flashbacks to digital warfare, warfare. Yeah, I wanna say what out to everybody that copped that first and second album. What up, y'all real troops out there? Yeah. Hey yo, my lions run through club cheaters with busted heaters that blast like lyrical heat seekers through the speakers. Non-believers are deceivers through the media. Lyrics by the teacher. I walk through Harlem like Black Caesar. Razor blade stashed inside the sole of my sneaker. Ill graphics, far from a savage. The streets is wicked like Halloween havoc. Little children with automatics. Imagine babies drive-bys in the cabbage. Rappers is like Peter Pan. I'm built like Sandman on the desert lands. I'm from Shaolin. My sword is a mic stand. Use to swallow your glands. Nine princes in command of the stage. My heart pumps rage like a jungle lion trapped inside a cage. I free the slaves through the airwaves. A hot 97 airplay. All my real soldiers wave your AKs and hand grenades. Word the fuck up. The ninth prism. The new millennium. Peace and blessings to all the 5 boroughs. Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten, word up. Queens, you know, Long Island, upstate, Connecticut, the whole tri-state, New Jersey. Peace and blessings to Killer Arm. We armed and dangerous, for real. The new millennium. Get ready. 1 love, 2 loves, 3 loves.
warfare, Red Dawn,
Killer Army,
war pawns,
PR
killers from the
terrorists.
corn,
What up? Beretta 9.
raps nasty like porn.
The thief of Baghdad. Killer Sin.
Yeah.
Shogun the assassin.
Scuffed up guns, toss the filthy heat, then run. Dirty weaponry, fill my clip with rusty dum-dums. It hardly work right. When I bust it, hardly jerk right. Smith & Wesson type, illuminate the block all night. Stereo scrape, found it in the nearby lake. Dried it off an hour later, caught your man for his cake. Administrated earthquake, the earth shake. Your body ache, your life's at stake. Your lyrics ain't holding no weight. Paralyze your enterprise, cause they moving like snakes up in my grass. Little they know it's water than gas. Spark that ass with the friction that my music enhance. Verbal vibrations, spit a few darts from out my stash. Terrorist, nemesis, is the first and the last. Knowledge and understanding, one and the same. I aim, no restraint, nothing to lose, all to gain. I raise Cain and snap your back, rip by your veins, crack your frame, return you back from where you came.
Yo, on the master ceremony revolutionist, lyrical demolitionist, trapped in the abyss. Pirates of dark waters, meteorologists, slave thug, be symbolic to epic, language is dangerous. I exile myself from earth and build the home on Uranus. Ninth Prince, the MC acrobatic, lyrical gymnastic, the stage gymnasium. I slave to the rhythm, I terrorists like patriotism. The God is universal, fight a rehearsal. Rappers is too commercial, I'll lyrically murder you. We attack with logical, scrape your physical composition with broken bottles and blow fire at my nostrils. Rappers is nervous, bad remote verses. Lyrically enormous shockwaves with the surface. Psychic predictions, it's the imitation of the minds of Egyptians. Lyrical poetic musician, tunes hit the moon, made the earth cause collision with 7 planets, then I vanished. Some call me the human Titanic. Ceased the prisoner of captivity. Sun of solar broke the laws of gravity. Dollars incarcerated, assault and battery against the music academy. MCs is too gentle, stab my pencil, side the temple, and revenge the general.
Red Dawn, war porns, rap nasty like porn. Pass on, transform, arm, leg, arm. Supreme head, infrared, we form like Voltron. We form like Voltron.
We go to war like Arabians, Pakistanians, Frenchmen and Indians, Germans, Muslims, Vikings, Patriots, Trojans, Conquistador, Romans, Projects, Aztecs, Confederate Yankees, Nazis, non-vets, drown you in the ocean. Get your shit open. Shoulda had your sword, but it was broken. Strike your whole facility with strength and agility to the best of my ability. With heavy artillery, with screaming military, killer army adversary. Shot your first platoon, dropped a bomb on your secondary. My state be war, but it's new and revolutionary. Beretta aim at sights at your dome and at your coronary. Then I finish you off with a banner to the respiratory. Best you pit or die when you step into my territory.
Red Dawn, war porns, rap nasty like porn. Pass on, transform, arm, leg, arm. Supreme head, infrared, we form like Voltron. We form like Voltron. Red Dawn, war porns, rap nasty like porn. Pass on, transform, arm, leg, arm. Supreme head, infrared, we form like Voltron. We form like Voltron, then drop the bomb. Word is born.
For some warriors, the answer is crystallized in an instant. Their instincts point them only one way. The truth becomes undeniable.
When I say killer, you say on me. Killer! 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 When I say killer, you say on me. Killer! Killer! Yeah.
All right. We back. Hope you like that music. You heard one of the songs already. That's Killer Army. The other song you heard was Killer Army also. I think it's just a Killer Army mood right now. It's a fucking, camouflage fatigues and fucking boots type life right now, boy. Good Lord, is this shit happening in America and all over the world? Yes, it is. Is this the same shit all the conspiracy theory, quote unquote, conspiracy theorists, haven't we been saying this shit for the past 10, 15, 20 years? Some people 30, 40. How is all this shit matching up? I can just be grabbing fucking any speech from any era and I can add it over the top of any movie, any, big movie or movie that's worth a damn. And it just adds up. I can go get any philosopher, any fucking philosophy from east or west, overlay it with anything from Hollywood, and it's gonna add up every single time, guys. If y'all haven't figured out the formula yet, I'm not making this shit up, guys. If you think, damn, how, like, all this 9/11 shit was in the movies, and you know, we not even really knowing what that shit talking about. Did you see the intro just now? Did you see the cemetery? But behind the cemetery was 9/11, was the World Trade Center. Do y'all remember what happened in Watchmen? Do you think Zack Snyder just made this up, or what? I forget the original dude that wrote the Watchmen. Do you think they just make this type of shit up? Guys, no. What happens is there's a fucking world behind this world. The fucking TV world that everyone sees is not the real world. I hate to say it. What we get all of our knowledge and all of our fucking information from, we get it from mainstream media, whether it's TV, radio, or, you know, internet. But it's the lie, right? So the truth is what's called the mysteries. So the mysteries have been handed down from, people say, since Atlantis. The mysteries are why the fuck Atlantis failed, pretty much. Why Atlantis didn't work out. Because we supposedly had all this technology before. We're supposedly just coming back to where we've been before. So now you see that in fucking Aquaman, you know, he's like, oh, we gotta go to Africa and find this hidden cave. You know, these ancient people were doing this thing back in the day and blah, blah, blah. And it unlocks the secrets of Atlantis. That's supposedly going on right now, right? But all of philosophy and antiquities and museums of natural arts and fucking everything that matters are not thinking the TV world. They're on they're in the real world. The TV mainstream media world is the lie, is the spin to make you not understand the real world. Because if you understand the real world, you understand there's a language that they speak and they do certain shit. Like put shit in movies that you think is just symbolism. And you don't get it when you see it in the movie, but you had to see it in the movie because, oh my God, we going deep right now. So, like, if the country, all right, we're going super deep. So y'all put on your caps, right? The country is like a fucking corporation that's sold on the stock market. And it has a bunch of different shit that it does good. Exports, imports, you know, fucking build jets, airplanes, all kind of shit, right? Now, all of these mass conglomerate of corporations, they base their home of operations in a certain country, right? Like America, say America. And they got to deal with all of American rules, right? But your country is run exactly like that. The presidents and shit, they just be faces of that certain business group that is either trying to rape the world and pillage the world, or maybe try to build it back up, like we think Trump and his sons, Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner and them boys was trying to do. And from what we see now with Biden and blah, 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 it showed that Trump and them boys was right. And they were probably the reason why we don't have like flying cars and shit like that, super technology, is this same fight from back in the day with Atlantis, all the way to this fight with Tesla and Thomas Edison in our more recent lifetime, all the way to this fight with the Nazis in our more recent lifetime at World War II, all the way to all of the fights that happened after World War II. This is the same fight, because it's a fuck. All right, I got a little bit away from the corporation shit, but right, I'm gonna get back. So as a corporation, when you put your stock out, you have to say, you have to say the goods and the bads about the country. About the company. So when people invest in your company, they know from your mission statement that it's not going to be all good all the time. You're not going to win every day and be in the green every single day. So you take that chance in investment. Maybe I might lose some money, but they told me up front I might lose some money. It might go in the red. So for me to put my money in there, I know there's a risk of me losing, right? Okay, that's a corporation. That's a stock. That's why when you lose, you can't sue anybody, because you've seen it up front that you might lose. A country does the same shit. So now there's a conglomerate of countries together, and we call them the New World Order, but it's really the new order of the world, because America is number one, and a lot of people want to change that. Like the whole world wants to change that, right? But here's the thing. America wasn't being run by Americans, right? We were being shit on and doing shitty stuff by them. They snuck in our country and did shitty stuff and blamed it on us. Used our might, used our power, used our we got an ideology of freedom. So freedom means everybody can come over here and do whatever they want, pretty much. Capitalism. So now everybody did come over here and do whatever they want. But it don't mean it was always pro-American. They might have been reaping the benefits of living in America, but they haven't been pro-American. So now, right now, they're all coming out, because we're at that stage. We're past demoralization. Demoralization was at 9/11. This is why this is in all of the movies, because they keep having to demoralize you when you watch it. We're past that. So now they all come out. So now you see all of the people that the conspiracy theorists have been warning you about. Oh, this dude's a Mason, this dude's is this dude's is this, blah, blah, blah. Now you see they're all coming together and doing fuck shit, like making you do mandatory vaccinations, or, discriminating against vaccinated and unvaccinated, or, instigating wars and riots over George Floyd and Black Lives Matters and all of this shit. This is all a plan by those same people that has been here. Been faking like they're pro-American, but they're not pro-American. But now look, the reason I said the shit about the stocks, here's how they put it, where you have to agree, just like, all right, if you're going to be American, you might take some L's and you might have some wins. But where did you agree? Where did you agree to that before you put your money into it, like the stock market? Where did you agree to that? You would not believe that you subconsciously agreed to it when you saw it in a movie. You will not believe that. Now, the mysteries aren't taught. Like, well, I'm teaching you, and some people do teach you, but the mysteries aren't taught in schools and shit like that. The mysteries are taught like a story, like a Nancy the Spider, right? So now, if I'm speaking a mystery to you, I can't tell it to you like, hey, bro, X, Y, and Z. Most of the time, even if you do be that open with people, they still don't understand what you're saying. They still don't understand what's going on. But the mysteries have to be like symbolized. You see it in movies. You see it in their mainstream media. You see it when, you know, all of like, they'd be like, put a bunch of gay dudes on TV, Little Nas X, and then a bunch of gay dudes come out in real public, you know? Like, they program you with it. That's when you agree. That's when you agree to it. But what's turning up now is they're not only taking over the country, you see them coming out, and this is what, I'm going to put something in here that's going to show you the exact methods. I put it in here before as Yuri Bezmenov. If you don't know this shit, you have to know and memorize it because it's the exact methods of how they do it to the country. But the reason I'm putting this in the Go Deep, because it's deeper than that now, right? Now, not only do they want the country, they want the souls of the people. I hate to say it like that, but it is like that. These people have this power, or are using this power, this magic. All of the secret societies, all of the hidden hands, all of the fucking sororities, fraternities, all of them, they're all using the same shit, and they're all faking like it's just some, oh, it's my fraternity shit. Oh, it's my, you know, secret society or brotherhood shit or blah, blah, blah. It's all the same magic, but they're doing it behind the scenes, and they're doing it like the dark side because it's behind the scenes. It's hidden, but the magic exists. So what they're doing is they're programming you with that magic through the media. That same world that I just told you about is fake. It's called like the Matrix. They made it up. Like, we know Tom Brady ain't the best quarterback ever, but if they keep saying that and keep lying or keep, you know, we know he cheated like every single Super Bowl. We know that in real life, but if they keep saying that. So that's how they make you agree to this shit. That's how you can layer ideologies, agendas, and everything else with Hollywood movies. That's how you can do that, because the Hollywood is just programming you to agree to whatever agenda the United Nations say or the World Monetary Fund wants to do, right? But here's how they're taking it deeper. My bad, I got off that. They're taking it deeper because they not only want your country, they want your soul. Now, these chat rooms, pay the fuck attention to the people talking in the chat rooms. And I've been telling y'all this shit. I've been telling y'all this. And I didn't want to tell y'all like I be telling y'all now. But I was waiting for people to come out behind their mask and just be themselves, right? We've been hanging out with each other for 5 years now. Let's be friends, right? I'm going to show you. Y'all, we were never meant to go home. Like, once we got into that movement, it was meant to be there for life. And that's how they're operating right now. Scientology is going through a big case right now where a lot of these actors are coming out and going to court over some fuck shit that they, you know, went through, right? So that's why Scientology is all over the news, right? Scientology is just switching. It's now all on the internet in these movements. It's the same shit, guys. It's the same cultish behavior. It's the same fucking people. It's the same city. It's the same shit. That's what I wanted y'all boys to really, really see, because I knew a lot of these people behind the scenes are on some bullshit. But they come in these chat rooms and they lie to y'all all day. They lie to y'all like there's some real good guys and then some real nice, swell people, but they're not. They're a bunch of snakes, and they're leading you to do the work of the New World Order. They're leading you to do that shit for the rest of your life. You have signed, or you probably will sign, a billion-year contract. Or you probably don't even know you did, but you probably will be working for another billion years. I swear to God, it's that deep. I'm going to show you how deep it is. But you saw how after the movie came out, all of the bigwigs in the movement start talking about, oh, well, we can do this for another 10 more years. You already put in 5 years plus 10 years. That's 15 years working on the internet for a corporation. that really don't give a fuck about you. But even after that 10 years, it would have been another 10 years. And your kids would have had to do it. I promise you, it's that deep. Scientology has moved online to the fucking internet. And they're just doing the same techniques and the same cultist methods in these online movements. So beware who's talking to you. Beware who the fuck is talking to you. I promise y'all, I know. Whether you don't know or you probably haven't reached those doors yet, but beware who's talking to you. I'm going to put it in this show. Go deep, listen to this shit, and I'll fucking guide you through these old cornballs. We're going to fuck them up in the end. Like the comedian just fucking came back to life in that intro and he was thugging at the end. That's how we're going to do it, y'all boys. Go deep, 247. We're going to send these bumbleclot risers back to heaven. A lot of them boys don't believe in heaven. That's what it is. A lot of them boys believe in the devil. Watch them boys. Go deep, you bitch. Yo, I forgot. I have to give some actual real life history also before we go out. That group that I played, the rappers, Killer Army, they're like a branch off group from Wu-Tang Clan, right? But listen to this shit though. That CD that I played came out September 11th, right? I was in New York on the day it came out, September 11th. I got that shit. But also, their group was implicated in probably one of the BS situations we've seen in America. That DC Sniper, also, their group was implicated because this said, quote unquote, the government said that their lyrics was written on pieces of paper in the dude's car. Now we know how shit be fucked up and shit be made up probably, but why did they do that? Why would they say that? Their lyrics was written on a piece of paper. You can look that up. Look up Killer Army DC Sniper. Why would they do that though? How big can this shit go? Because if you listen to Killer Army's lyrics, Killer Army always told us about these days we're living right now. We're literally, well, I know I grew up listening to Killer Army. Beretta 9 is the guy that we did videos with in Miami and blah, blah, blah. Everybody know we did mixtapes with him. He's from Killer Army. He's from this group. Their CD came out September 11th and got blackballed in the industry on some bullshit from some DC Sniper shit. In real life, this happened. These my dogs. That's why I put their songs in here. Go deep, you bitch.
Hello, how's it going, my friend?
Hello, Sean. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're looking crisp and you're sounding clear. And I just
Great.
Tony, to the viewers. Do you want to just add a little bit about you, perhaps?
My name is Tony Ortega. I'm the editor of The Underground Bunker, which is my website, tonyortega.org, where we have a story every day at 7 a.m. Eastern about the Church of Scientology. I think I'm the only journalist who covers Scientology as a daily beat all year round. I've been writing about Scientology since 1995. I was the editor-in-chief of the Village Voice from 2007 to 2012.
And are you getting any blowback from doing this from the church?
Well, I mean, that's just part of their, method is they try to make life hard for me, and they're constantly smearing me online, and they run various operations against me. It just kind of comes with the territory, I guess.
What made you want to go in so hardcore on them?
Well, look, it's a great story. I mean, that's it. I mean, I was a young journalist back in 95. I bumped into a story that involved Scientology. I was just fascinated by it and made some great sources. And, it's this not very large organization. It's smaller than people think, but it's got some famous celebrities. It's very secretive about what it does. And it's, known for just some really amazing abuses and controversies. And it's endless. I mean, one of the things that's fascinating about it is that they are following a playbook that the founder laid down decades ago, and they really can't change the way that they do business. So I just find that it's a fascinating story. I'm grateful that I have a front row seat to watch it develop. And that's it. I'm a journalist covering a story. To me, that's all I'm doing.
All right, let's go over to Danny Masterson then. What is his story? Because I know we've done a lot on Tom Cruise and we've done a lot on John Travolta on the channel. What's Danny's story?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bad time for the church. They're really facing a difficult period. Danny grew up in Scientology. He's known for playing Hyde on That 70s Show. And he also had a show called The Ranch on Netflix. Fairly well-known actor from a Scientology family. And I broke the story in 2017 that 3 women were talking to the LAPD about their allegations that he had raped them when they were Scientologists. That turned into actual criminal charges last year. Danny has now gone through a preliminary hearing, and his trial has been tentatively scheduled for February. If he's convicted, he's being prosecuted under a strict California one-strike law. If he's convicted, he's looking at 45 years to life in prison for forcibly raping these 3 different women. It's a very serious case. But what was really interesting was how much was Scientology going to be involved? Because, I mean, he's a Scientology celebrity. The 3 women were Scientologists at that time. When they say they were attacked, they're not now. A big question going into the preliminary hearing in May was how much the judge was going to allow testimony about Scientology, because the women, their testimony is they didn't come forward sooner because they feared the church. They feared retaliation from the Church of Scientology. Now, Danny's attorneys wanted to keep that out of the case. But I have to tell you, Sean, I was sitting there in the front row for all 4 days in the courtroom in Los Angeles, and I was stunned at how much this judge had done her homework. And she understood what was going on. She allowed the testimony about Scientology's policies. It was a nightmare for the Church of Scientology. And it's going to get worse when the criminal trial comes around, because now we're talking February, maybe later, maybe more like May or June. But we're talking weeks of testimony with witnesses who were Scientologists or former Scientologists. And the judge has already established that Scientology will be a subject of that testimony. So the church is in a bad position because they're not a party. This isn't a civil suit. It's a criminal prosecution, and the church can't object. The church can't even have an attorney say anything. So I also think, besides how much of a nightmare this trial is going to be for Scientology because of testimony, I think there are other agencies also looking at this case as far as what these women went through, as far as other Scientologists suppressing their allegations, telling them that they couldn't go to the police. I have to believe that the federal government is also paying a close attention, and I think there may be other consequences for the church. So this is really a dire moment for the Church of Scientology, in my opinion.
So did the women give specifics as to why they were terrified of the church? Did they say what could possibly happen to them?
Absolutely. Jane Doe number 1, for example, gave amazing testimony about the violent rape she had been through, and that she went to the church. And, the church has rules. You're not supposed to turn in one Scientologist. One Scientologist is not supposed to go to the police about another Scientologist. And she knew that. She went to the church. You know what the church did? They put her through 3 months of past life counseling, where she had to spend 3 months exploring her past lives going back millions of years to try to figure out what evil things she had done in the past that made her a victim in this lifetime, and charged her $15,000 for it. This is how they drill into your head that you better not go to the police, or because the church owns you. Now, what are the consequences? She knew the consequences. If she did go to the police, if she publicly accused Danny Masterson, they do what's called declare you a suppressive person, declare you an SP. You are kicked out of the church. And here's the thing: any Scientologist that wants to avoid the same fate has to also completely cut off ties with you. She would lose her family. She would lose her friends. She would lose any opportunity for working in that field anymore. They knew this, and they talked about this on the stand in court, saying that they knew that they couldn't come forward because it would cost them their lives, essentially. And the judge, I think the judge was very persuaded by this. She actually said something when she announced her decision that she was binding over Masterson for trial and that he would face trial. She not only said that the women had testified that they were subjected to sexual attacks with no consent, but also she said something about that Scientology's policies explain why they had not come forward sooner. So it's all this stuff is really going to get examined closely by the media that covers that case.
Did the other two women have similar stories, or have they tried to report it?
Yeah, they also talked about how they were terrified, and they knew that if they went to the police, they would be declared. They testified that as well.
Wow. So Danny Masterson then, Tom Cruise, John Travolta, like Scientology's got so much invested in their reputations to enhance their own brand. Why did these guys get involved with Scientology in the first place?
It's a great question. Well, let's make one thing perfectly clear. They don't have very many celebrities. I run into journalists that say, "Why does Scientology have so many celebrities?" They have a few, okay. And you nailed it: Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, Jenna Elfman, a few others. Why are they attracted to it? I mean, one of the reasons why I think celebrities and actors might be more susceptible than other people is that if you go to a church or a synagogue or a mosque, what happens? You sit in a group experience. There's somebody up at the pulpit who is explaining things, and you're asked to believe and invest in some things that happened 2,000 years ago in the Middle East. Or, there's a story, a collective story everyone is asked to believe that has nothing to do with you. You weren't there, 2,000 years ago, but they then explain how that applies to your life, and you're asked to invest in that. Scientology is nothing like that. You walk in, and from day one, it's all about you. You sit down, not in a group, but with one other person, an auditor, and that auditor starts asking you about your life, your memories, what you went through as a child, what are your challenges in life. And not only is it all about your memories and who you are, they can never tell you you're wrong. So one of the things they want you to do is go back into previous lives and remember who you were 1,000 years ago or 10 million years ago. And so a lot of these people will say, well, I think I was Julius Caesar, or I think I was Jesus Christ. They can't tell you you're wrong. They just have to say, oh, that's interesting. That's great. We're going to write that down. So I think that focus, that it's very narcissistic. It's all about you. It's all about your learning who you're this super important figure in the galaxy's history, and you've ruled over planets. And I think there are certain people that like that focus on themselves. And so I think maybe that's one of the reasons why actors get into it. Another reason is that they cater to celebrities. How many churches do you know have a celebrity center, right? And that's what Scientology has. They have a separate facility. And not only do they have a separate facility, but within that facility, they have a separate set of entrances and offices. So these folks never have to mingle with the rank and file, right? Tom Cruise has his own entrance into the place. He goes up his own elevator. They've got a separate place for him to be pampered. And the other people have explained to me, like Jason Begay, who was a celebrity in the church, that they make it feel like they've got your back. If you get into some legal trouble or if you get into some kind of a squabble, Scientology sends attorneys. Scientology sends, staff. So it's that catering to them, pampering of them, but also I think the complete focus on who they are, and you're never told you're wrong. All these things have added up to they've been able to get in a few celebrities. But, people ask me, so why don't they leave? If there are all these abuses and controversies in Scientology, why doesn't Tom Cruise leave? And the tabloids want you to believe. I mean, every 6 months, another tabloid says, Tom's leaving, Tom's going back to Katie, all this garbage. What, people ask me, well, do they stay in because they've got all this blackmail material? And there's no question, when you're sitting there talking about yourself and revealing all your secrets, they are writing it down. They are producing files on you. There's no question they have a lot of material on these guys. But I think it's important to keep in mind that Travolta and Cruz, they're true believers. They really do believe that L. Ron Hubbard, a mid-century science fiction writer from the 50s, discovered the secrets of the universe, and only L. Ron Hubbard, and that we are living on a prison planet, and most of us, non-Scientologists have no idea what's really going on. And so, people ask me, Tony, how can Tom Cruise believe something so crazy? And my answer is always, you got to keep this in mind. He wonders how you can't believe it. How can you not see that Scientology is the only salvation for this planet, this prison planet being run by evil invader forces? We can only fight them back with Scientology. So once you buy into an idea like that you've lived for trillions of years and you'll continue to live for trillions of years, it's a very powerful idea. And as Paul Haggis described in the movie Going Clear, when people criticize you for it, it just makes you hold on to it stronger. You know what I'm saying? They dig in even deeper. So I think for people like Cruz and Travolta in particular, it's their way of life, and that's how they see the world.
Have you heard anything about this slave labor force that Tom Cruise has got through Scientology? These people work for free and do his bidding.
Yeah, so there's various groups inside Scientology. The largest group are what's called the publics. These are people that are just paying for courses. They have their regular lives outside the church. Then there are people who actually work for Scientology. Some of them are called staff. They're the folks that work at your local facility, at the local org, and they're making like minimum wage, and they have really long hours. But then there's the inner hardcore of Scientology. These are called the Sea Organization, because it actually started in 1967 when they were on a ship. And so they called themselves the Sea Organization, and they're still called the Sea Org today. And they still have naval uniforms and naval ranks, even though they're working on secret bases in the desert. The Sea Org requires a billion-year contract. And no, I did not say that incorrectly. A billion-year contract. You are signing, promising to come back lifetime after lifetime. They work 365 days a year for about 40 cents an hour. And this includes children. Laura DiCrescenzo sued the Church of Scientology in 2009. And in her claim, she said that she joined the Sea Org at 12, and she was put on the child's schedule, which was 90 hours a week. When she turned 13, she was put on the adult schedule, which is 112 hours a week. She was punished because she admitted to missing her mother. All right, this is what it's like in the Sea Organization. Now, a lot of that's been revealed in recent years. Scientology claims it no longer has kids that young in the Sea Org. But the number one thing you always have to keep in mind about Scientology is they never tell the truth. Their spokespeople have never told the truth ever. So I don't believe them that they say that they don't have children in the Sea Org anymore. But even the adults that are in the Sea Org are working insane hours for almost no pay. And there's been a lot of abuses. There was an FBI investigation about all this, actually, in 2009, 2010, and they interviewed Sea Org members. I've actually posted the material from that FBI investigation on my website. Why the FBI, why the Department of Justice didn't file charges, that's a very complex, long story. But at least we have that material, amazing testimony from these people and the hardships they were put through as they served their billion years.
So one of our guests alleged that it was Tom Cruise's wife was against the church and he temporarily broke away from it, but then the church allegedly plotted to get her out of the way and he came back. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, sure. I mean, I've written extensively about Tom's 3 marriages and how Scientology was involved in all of them. He actually was
all of them.
Oh yeah, he was first married to Mimi Rogers, who was a Scientologist. She got him into Scientology. They were actually married on May 9th, 1987, which is Dianetics Day. It's a very important day on the Scientology calendar. So by then she had already gotten him well into it. 3 years later, Scientology broke up that marriage because they wanted him to get together with Nicole. Scientology was very much involved in that. I've got a complete story about that with people who were there at the time. When he married Nicole in 1990, she did her best to be part of Scientology with him. And I've actually talked to her auditor, right? The guy that was counseling her. And she got all the way to OT2 in only 2 years. So Nicole Kidman must, from between 1990 and 1992, she must have done Scientology virtually every day. She was doing her best. But then after she got to OT2, after 1992, she pulled away. And I think like some others, she soured on the leader, David Miscavige. I think she got tired of him. She pulled away from Scientology in 1992, and she pulled Tom away with her. Now, none of us realized this until years later. But between 1992 and 2000, when they broke up, Tom was pretty much away from Scientology completely. Like when they were filming Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick in 96, I think it was, Miscavige was going crazy trying to get information on them. I actually wrote a story about the spy that David Miscavige had in Tom's household to keep tabs on him during this period. In 2000, they broke up. And then David Miscavige made it job one in Scientology. We got to get Tom back in, and we got to get him spun up and gung-ho again. And that's what they did between 2000 and 2003 was Marty Rathbun was his auditor. They worked very hard on him. And by 2003, Tom Cruise was #1 Scientologist in the world. And he was anxious at that time to kind of go out and be the ambassador for Scientology. They tried it out in July 2003. They had him at the grand opening of a facility in Missouri, of all places, for Applied Scholastics, which is one of their front groups that tries to get L. Ron Hubbard's materials into schools, into public schools. And Tom Cruise was there at the opening of that building in 2003. Then they used him to open what's called an Ideal Org the following year in Madrid, Spain. It's, since 2003, David Miscavige has opened like 60 of these things. He's basically turned normal orgs into these elaborate cathedrals at millions and millions of dollars. And he's done it like 60 times around the world. The only time Tom Cruise went to one, it was Madrid in 2004. And he actually gave a speech in Spanish. My website's the only one that has published that Tom Cruise speaking in Spanish to open that org. He had just broken up with Penelope Cruz. And reportedly at that event, he told David Miscavige that he needed a new girlfriend. And so that's what started that summer of 2004 is when Dave and Shelley, his wife Shelley, started a program to audition actresses that they thought they were auditioning for a movie. They were auditioning to be Tom's girlfriend. And by November 2004, they had chosen a young Scientologist actress by the name of Nazanin Boniadi. This is all, Alex Gibney does a great job with this in his movie Going Clear on HBO. And from November 2004 to January 2005, Nazanin was dating Tom Cruise after she'd been selected in that process. And that's also just before that, in October 2004, is when David Miscavige wanted to recognize Tom for what an amazing Scientologist he was now. That's when he gave him that big medal you've probably seen. In October 2004, he gave him the Freedom Medal of Valor, which is this larger version of a medal that other Scientologists get. And video of that event was leaked 4 years later in 2008. And that's when we get that black turtleneck interview of Tom Cruise that's so fun to watch. They made that thinking it was only going to be seen by other Scientologists. And they wanted to show everybody how Tom Cruise was the most enthusiastic, gung-ho Scientologist in the world. And that's why he looks so crazy in that video.
Wow, this is absolutely fascinating. So they have now got a stronghold in Clearwater, Florida, where David Miscavige lives, and also Cruise has built a penthouse condo there.
Yeah, a few years ago, I broke the news that Tom was building a condo there. He actually, a Scientologist, a wealthy Scientologist, had purchased a former bank building and was rehabbing it with condos. It's right in the middle of what they call their spiritual mecca there, the Flag Land Base, just a 5-minute walk from where David Miscavige is. And Tom had bought the top 2 floors to make a double penthouse. He had also purchased, they were building him a 12-car garage with an air bridge and a car elevator. So when Tom drives in, he goes into the car elevator. It brings his car up to his 12-car garage. He walks across the air bridge and right up to his penthouse apartment. He never has to see anybody. He never has to come out on the street. They have designed it perfectly for him. He may make trips to Clearwater. We might not even know it. And that's just a few minutes from David Miscavige. Miscavige himself, he was based in California forever, and we were surprised to learn that he's now based out of that same area. He's in the Flag Building, I think, at Clearwater. I think what's happening, Sean, is Scientology's really had a tough 20 years. They've lost a lot of people. The pandemic has been very difficult on them. I think they're circling the wagons. I think Miscavige is consolidating the power, even though he puts on a show that Scientology is expanding and it's all over the world, that it's in South Africa and Taiwan and Mexico. They're really concentrating their power in that little town of Clearwater, Florida, and they know that they need to build up kind of a fortress there.
Good grief. So is Tom Cruise with a woman now that was vetted by Scientology?
You know what? I haven't seen that he's dating anybody. That's a good question. I have a great source who worked in his household for years and years. And that source tells me that one of the things about Tom Cruise is he has to be with somebody. Because when he's with, whether it's Nicole Kidman or Katie Holmes, he's really obsessed with them. Well, you saw it a little bit on Oprah's couch, right? I mean, his whole life is around that, and he's got everyone who's met him will tell you he's got the energy of a small city, right? I mean, the guy is just always on, and he's in this woman's face. So if you're gonna date Tom Cruise, you better be prepared. He's gonna be all over you all day, every day. So my source was saying, I don't understand how he can go this long without a serious girlfriend like that, because he normally needs that really tight partner. So I'm not sure what's going on with him. A guy like him could probably date somebody secretly. I'm sure the tabloids will know before me if he's seeing somebody. But his most recent co-star in the new Mission Impossible they've been talking about, it's hard to know what's going on with him at this point and why he's not publicly with somebody.
Perhaps age has tempered his testosterone.
I don't know. He looks good. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
the guy looks very good.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes left. And is there anything you would like to cover in that last 5 minutes then?
Well, I just encourage people to come by TonyOrtega.org, because we've got the Underground Bunker, because we've got a new story every day. There's a lot of different things going on with court cases. There's a case at the U.S. Supreme Court right now. There's a case at the California Supreme Court. There's Danny Masterson's criminal case coming up. And the question is always, well, when is the federal government going to step in and do something? Because, Scientology, the reason why Scientology never gets investigated for these abuses and controversies is because they have tax-exempt status. And, when is the government going to, reinvestigate that? And it's hard to know. The IRS has been decimated in recent years, and I'm not sure they have the personnel yet to go after that. But, I think something like the Danny Masterson case and some of the abuses people are going to see of these women and some of the control in that organization, I think will have an effect. I also know that the federal government is looking at some financial crimes. I've written about some older people who were just horribly extorted by Scientology. And I know they've talked to federal investigators. So, it's a small organization. It's got some famous names, but I think it is worthwhile for the government to take a look at them and see the ways that they are violating their tax-exempt status.
You got a question from one of the viewers, Sarah, who's asked, I wonder, the way they extort non-celebrities, is it the same for celebrities? I imagine it's completely different.
I think it's different, but I think that celebrities are under pressure to donate. I think celebrities are under pressure. What I remember when Leah Remini's show started, and which was such a great run. I mean, she did 3 years of amazing exposés on Scientology. When that show first started, all of a sudden, Kirstie Alley, Kelly Preston, so sad, Kelly, she's gone, and Nancy Cartwright all finished OT8, OT7, OT8 within a few months of each other. These are the highest levels that in Scientology, you have to go through increasingly expensive levels over years and years, up to when you're near the top, near OT7 or OT8, you're spending hundreds of dollars an hour for this counseling. And it can take many years to complete. And I noticed that all three of these celebrities all finished and then made a show of it. That was the other thing. They really made a show. And I said, you know what's going on is David Miscavige is putting pressure on them. I need you to make a show, because he was worried about the impact that Leah Remini's show was happening. So I think that does occur. I think the celebrities get pressured to either say something publicly or or do more courses. I think they're under pressure to donate money. Leah Remini has talked about that she was under a lot of pressure to donate money. Another answer to that question is, when Leah asked the question she wasn't supposed to ask, this was at Tom Cruise's and Katie Holmes' wedding in Italy in November 2006. They were married in a castle. Leah was an invited guest, and she realized that David Miscavige, the leader of the church, was there without his wife, Shelley. How could he be there at the wedding of the century without his wife? Where was she? And Leah dared to go up to Tommy Davis, who at that time was Miscavige's sort of, major domo, and ask him, hey, what's going on? Where's Shelley? And she was told she didn't have the effing rank to ask that question. After she left that wedding and went back to the United States, she was ordered to the Flag Land Base in Clearwater, Florida, and she went through 3 months of intense interrogations, and her bill was $300,000.
Holy shit.
Because she dared to ask that question. So when you ask me, do the celebrities go through the same kind of extortion and the same kind of pressure? Yes, they do.
It's even bigger. Bigger money at stake. All right, Tony, thank you. You're a brilliant speaker. I really appreciate you coming on. Would love to have you back on. And I urge people to go down, if you're watching this on any of the platforms, and click on Tony's links and support his important work. So you have a great rest of your day, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, Sean. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks, Tony. Cheers. Bye.
This video is not mine. It is a lecture video given by Thomas Schumann. His real name is Yuri Bezmenov. He gave this lecture back in 1980s. It took me a while to find this golden nugget. And the reason I uploaded this video on my channel is because it is a great lecture that helps us in understanding the current political scenario both around the world as well as in our own country. And I believe it needs to be seen. After watching this, you will be able to relate what is happening today in many Western societies like America and Europe. And unfortunately, it is also happening in India. Since it's a long video, please watch it whenever you have time. And maybe you all get a bit more educated. The video starts now.
Subversion is the term, if you look in a dictionary or criminal code to that matter, usually is explained as a part of activity to destroy things like religion, government system, political, economical system of a country. And usually it's linked to espionage and such romantic things as blowing up bridges, sidetracking trains, cloak and dagger activity in Hollywood style. What I'm going to talk about now has absolutely nothing to do with the cliché of espionage or KGB activity of collecting information. So the greatest mistake or misconception, I think, is that whenever we are talking about KGB, for some strange reason, starting from Hollywood movie makers to professors of political science and quote-unquote experts on Soviet affairs, or Kremlinologists as they call themselves, they think that the most desirable thing for Andropov and the whole KGB is to steal blueprints of some supersonic jet, bring it back to Soviet Union and sell it to the Soviet military-industrial complex. It's only partly true. If we take the whole time, money, and manpower that the Soviet Union and KGB in particular spends outside of USSR border, we will discover, of course there are no official statistics unlike with CIA or FBI, that the espionage as such occupies only 10 to 15% of money, time, and manpower. 15%. of the activity of KGB. The rest, 85%, is always subversion. And unlike a dictionary of English, Oxford Dictionary, subversion in Soviet terminology means always a destructive, aggressive activity aimed to destroy the country, nation, or geographical area of your enemy. So there's no romantics in there, absolutely. No blowing up bridges, no microfilms in Coca-Cola cans, nothing of that sort. No James Bond nonsense. It's most of this activity is overt, legitimate, and easily observable if you give yourself time and trouble to observe it. But according to the law and law enforcement systems of the Western civilization, it's not a crime. Exactly because of misconception, manipulation of terms. We think that subverter is a person who is going to blow up our beautiful bridges. No. Subverter is a student who comes for exchange, a diplomat, an actor, an artist, a journalist like myself was 10 years ago. Now, subversion is an activity which is a two-way traffic. You cannot subvert an enemy which doesn't want to be subverted. If you know history of Japan, for example, before 20th century, Japan was a closed society. The moment a foreign boat comes to the shores of Japan, the Imperial Japanese Army politely tells them to get lost. And if American salesman comes to the shore of Japan, let's say 60 or 70 years from now back, and says, oh, I have a very beautiful vacuum cleaner for you, with the good financing, he says, please leave us, we don't need your vacuum cleaner. If they don't leave, they shoot them to preserve their culture, ideology, traditions, values intact. You were not able to subvert Japan. You cannot subvert Soviet Union because the borders are closed. The media is censored by the government. The population is controlled by the KGB and internal police. With all the beautiful glossy pictures of Time magazine and Magazine America, which is published by the American Embassy in Moscow, you cannot subvert Soviet citizens because the magazine never reaches Soviet citizens. It's collected from the newsstands and thrown to garbage can. Subversion can be only successful when the initiator, the actor, the agent of subversion has a responsive target. It's a two-way traffic. United States is a receptive target of subversion. There is no response similar to that one from United States to the Soviet Union. It stops halfway somewhere. It never reaches here. The theory of subversion goes all the way back 2,500 years ago. The first human being who formulated the tactics of subversion was a Chinese philosopher by the name of Sun Tzu. 2,500 years BC. He was an advisor for several imperial courts in ancient China. And he said, after long meditation, that to implement state policy in a warlike manner, it's the most counterproductive, barbaric, and inefficient to fight on a battlefield. You know that war is continuation of state policy, right? So if you want successfully to implement your state policy and you start fighting, this is the most idiotic way to do it. The highest art of warfare is not to fight at all, but to subvert anything of value in the country of your enemy, until such time that the perception of reality of your enemy is screwed up to such an extent that he does not perceive you as an enemy, and that your system your civilization and your ambitions look to your enemy as an alternative, if not desirable, then at least feasible. Better red than dead. That's the ultimate purpose, the final stage of subversion, after which you can simply take your enemy without a single shot being fired, if the subversion is successful. This is basically what subversion is. As you see, not a single mentioning of blowing up bridges. Of course, Sun Tzu didn't know about blowing up bridges. Maybe there were not that many bridges at that time. But the basics of subversion is being taught to every student of KGB school in USSR and to officers of military academies. I'm not sure if the same author is included in the list of reading for American officers, to say nothing about ordinary students of political science. I had difficulty to find the translation of Sun Tzu in the library of a university in Toronto and later on here in Los Angeles. But it's a book which is not available. It is forced to every student in USSR. Every student who is taught to be dealing further in his future career with foreigners. What subversion is? Basically, it consists of 4 periods, time-wise. If we start from here and go this way, time, right? This is the beginning point. The first stage of subversion is the process which is called, basically, demoralization. It says for itself what it is. It takes from, say, 15 to 20 years to demoralize a society. Why 15 or 20 years? This is the time sufficient to educate one generation of students or children. One generation. One lifetime span of a person, a human being, which is dedicated to study, to shaping up the outlook, ideology, personality. No more, no less. Usually it takes from 15 to 20 years. What it includes? It includes influencing, or by various methods, infiltration, propaganda methods, direct contacts, doesn't really matter. I will describe them later. Of various areas where public opinion is formulated or shaped. Religion, educational system, social life, administration, law enforcement system, military, of course, and labor and employer relations, economy. Okay? 5 areas. I will not write them down because we will not have enough space. Sometimes when I describe all the methods, students ask me a question, are you sure this is the result of the Soviet influence? Not necessarily. You see, the tactic of subversion, about which I'm talking, is similar to the martial art, the Japanese martial art. If some of you are familiar with that tactic, probably you will remember that if an enemy is bigger and heavier than yourself, it would be very painful to resist his direct strike. If a heavier person wants to strike me in the face, it would be very naive and counterproductive to stop his blow. The Chinese and Japanese judo art tells us what to do. First to avoid the strike, then to grab the fist and continue his movement in the direction where it was before, right? Until the enemy crashes in the wall. You see? So, what happens here? The target country obviously does something wrong. If it's a free democratic society, there are many different movements within the society. There are obviously, in every society, there are people who are against this society. They may be simple criminals, ideologically in disagreement with the state policy, conscientious enemies, simply psychotic personalities who are against anything, right? And finally, there are a small group of agents of a foreign nation, bought, subverted, recruited, right? The moment all these movements will be directed in one direction, right? This is the time to catch that movement and to continue it until the movement forces the whole society into collapse, into crisis, right? So that's exactly the martial art tactic. We don't stop an enemy. We let him go. We help him to go in the direction we want them to go. Okay? So, on the stage of demoralization, obviously there are tendencies in each society, in each country, which are going to opposite direction from the basic moral values and principles. To take advantage of these movements, to capitalize on them, is the main purpose of the originator of subversion. So we have religion, we have education, we have social life, we have power structure, we have labor relations, unions, and finally we have law and order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? These are the areas of application of subversion. What it means exactly? In case of religion, destroy it, ridicule it, replace it with various sects, cults, which bring people's attention, faith, whether it is naive, primitive, doesn't really matter. As long as the basically accepted religious dogma is being slowly eroded and taken away from the supreme purpose of religion, to keep people in touch with the supreme being, that serves the purpose. Therefore, replace it, accepted, respected religious organizations with fake organizations. Distract people's attention from the real faith and attract them to various different faiths. Education. Distract them from learning something which is constructive, pragmatic, efficient. Instead of mathematics, physics, foreign languages, chemistry, teach them history of urban warfare, natural food, home economy, your sexuality, anything, as long as it takes you away, okay? Social life. Replace traditionally established institutions and organizations with fake organizations. Take away the initiative from people. Take away the responsibility from naturally established links between individuals, group of individuals, and society at large, and replace them with artificially, bureaucratically controlled bodies. Instead of social life and friendship between neighbors, establish social workers institutions. People who are on payroll of whom? Society? No. Bureaucracy. The main concern of social workers is not your family, not you, not social relations between groups of people. The main concern is to get the paycheck from the government. What will be the result of their social work doesn't really matter. They can develop all kind of concepts to show to the government and to the people that they're useful. Okay, away from the natural links, power structure. Okay, the natural bodies of administration, which are traditionally either elected by people at large or appointed by elected leaders of society, are being actively substituted by artificial bodies. The bodies of people, groups of people, whom nobody elected. Never. As a matter of fact, most of the people don't like them at all, and yet they exist. One of such group is media. Who elected them? How come they have so much power? Almost monopolistic power on your mind. They can rape your mind. But who elected them? How come they have a nerve to decide what is good and what is bad for for the elected by you president and his administration. Who the hell are they? Spiro Agnew, who was hated by the liberal left, called them a bunch of enfeebled snobs. And that's exactly what they are. They think they know. They don't. The level of mediocrity. In a big establishment like New York Times, Los Angeles Times, major television network, you don't have to be excellent journalist. You have to be exactly a mediocre journalist. That's easier to survive. There's no competition anymore. You have your good, nice income, $100,000 a year. That's it. Whether you're better or worse doesn't really matter anymore. As soon as you're smiling to the camera and do your job. That's it. No more competition. Power structure slowly is eroded by the bodies and groups of people who do not have neither qualification nor the will of people to keep them in power, and yet they do have power. Okay. Together with that, there is another process. Law enforcement, law and order organization and structure is being eroded. For the last 20, 25 years, if you see old movies and new movies, you can see that in new movies, a policeman, an officer of the United States Army looks dumb, angry, psychotic, paranoid. A criminal looks nice, kind of, well, he smokes hash and shoots the whatever drug, but basically he's a nice human being. He's creative. And he's unproductive only because society oppresses him. Whereby a general of Pentagon is always, by definition, a war maniac. A policeman is a pig, rude policeman. He abuses his power. No? A generalization like that. The hatred, the mistrust to the people who are supposed to protect you and enforce law and order. Moral relativity. The Angelo Buono process lasted 2 years in Los Angeles. Relativity. The Angelo Buono process lasted 2 years in Los Angeles. And yet there are still some lawyers who say, look, he's a nice character, as a matter of fact. There was some witness who said, also a criminal, who said, well, he's a nice guy. I asked him one day to burn a house of my enemy, and he wouldn't do it. He's a nice fella. Erosion. A slow substitution of basic moral principles, whereby a criminal is not a criminal, actually. He's a defendant. Even if his guilt is proven, there is still a doubt to kill or not to kill, to be or not to be. Thou shalt not kill, yes, but this line may not necessarily be applicable to a murderer. Thou shalt not murder. That should be the presumption, not that thou shalt not kill. Okay, labor relations. At this stage, within 15 to 20 years, we destroy the traditionally established links of bargaining between employer and employee. The classical Marxist-Leninist theory of natural exchange of goods. Person A has 5 sacks of grain and person B has 5 pairs of shoes. And the natural exchange without money is when they bargain between each other. And only with the introduction of the third force, C, an entirely third foreign stranger who says, no, don't give him 5 sacks of grain, give it to me, and you give me your 5 pairs of shoes, and I will distribute it accordingly, so that the economy will go. This is the death of natural exchange, death of natural bargaining. Well, trade unions were established 100 years ago. The objective was to improve working conditions and to protect the rights of workers from those employers who were abusing their right because they had more money. Objectively, at that time, initially, the trade union movement did work. What we see now is that the bargaining process is no longer resulting in the compromise, which is leading objectively to betterment of working conditions and increase of salary. What we see is that after each prolonged strike, the workers lose. Even if they have 10% increase of their salaries, they cannot catch up due to inflation and due to missed time. More than that, millions of people suffer from that strike because economy now is interdependent. It's intertwined like one body. If previously steel workers, say 100 years ago, could strike and nobody would suffer, now it's impossible anymore. If a garbage collector strikes today, the rest of the multi-million city is stinking. I mean, there's no more service. In Quebec, for example, we had the electricians who were on strike in the middle of winter. You can freeze your bottom, and they still were on strike. Did they catch up with the salary? No, they lost. Who benefited? The leaders of trade unions. What is the motivation for strike? Improving of a workers' condition? No, obviously it's not. Then what is it? Ideology. To prove to these capitalists. And the obedient horde of workers, like sheep, follow these people. And they cannot disobey. Why? Because if they do, you know what happens to them. Pickets, murders, shooting truck drivers by picketers. In Montreal, for example, I saw with my own eyes when I was correspondent of CBC International, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, when the workers of aircraft factory destroyed computers and the equipment in the factory. And the administration employed strike breakers. Their cars were turned upside down and burned. Their houses were burned. Their kids were intimidated. And some victims were there. Of that you can be sure. Why? To improve conditions of workers? No. Ideology. Okay, so this is what happens basically. It may or may not happen without the help of the Soviet Union. But the natural tendencies are being greatly taken advantage of and capitalized by the Soviet propaganda systems. How? Whenever trade union strikes, we have influx of propaganda, mass media, ideological dissemination. The workers' right, and we repeat it like parrots. Yes, workers' right. Whose rights? Workers? No. The only freedom of worker to sell his labor according to his own desire and will is taken away from him. By whom? By trade union boss. Unlimited power is given. Responsibility. I want to sell my labor not for $2.50 an hour, but for $2. I don't have right. My freedom is denied to me. I know that if I sell my work for $2 an hour, not for $3 an hour, I will compete better with the other guy who is lazy and more greedy. I don't need $3. I need only $2. No, I was made to believe by media, by business, by advertising agencies that I need more and more and more. Have you ever heard any advertising on TV to consume less? No. No way. Whether you need a six-cylinder car or not, you have to buy it. And hurry up. When I was driving here on the local radio station, an excited announcer said, "You hurry up, rush and save, save, save. There is a pantyhose sale." Save by buying more. See? Of course. It would be too naive to expect that KGB makes that advertising agency to do such a crazy commercial. No, of course not. But what we did when I was working for Novosti Press, we would snow plow editorial offices, student organizations, religious groups with literature of class struggle. If not directly Marxism-Leninism propaganda, then a propaganda of legitimate aspirations of working class, betterment of life, equality. Equality, mind you. President Kennedy once said, we will make America to believe that people are born equal. Are people born equal? Is there any mentioning in the Bible or any other holy scripture in any religion, if you don't believe me, go to the library and check it. There is not a single word about equality. Just the opposite. By your deeds, God will judge you. What you do is important. The merit of your personality. You cannot legislate equality if you want to be equal. You have to be equal. You have to deserve it. And yet we build our society on the principle of equality. We say people are equal. We know it is false. It's a lie. Some people are tall and stupid. Others are short, bold, and clever. If we make them equal by force, if we put the principle of equality in the basis of our socio-political structure, it's the same thing as building a house on sand. Sooner or later it will collapse, and that's exactly what happens. And we, as Soviet propaganda makers, are trying to push you in the direction which you go yourself. Equality, yes, equality. People are equal. Land of equal opportunities. Is it true or not? Think about it. Equal opportunities. Should there be equal opportunities? For me, and for a lazy bastard who come here from some other country and immediately registers as a welfare recipient, benefits. I never received a single dollar. No, sorry, I did receive once. But I never applied for welfare. For the 13 years, I took any job. Security guard, journalist, taxi driver, anything. Well, I was restless, but some people don't like it. They immediately. So why should we have equal opportunities? Why?
The equal opportunity to excel.
Equal opportunity in equal circumstances, yes, but you know people are different. To excel, yes, provided we reach the same level of excellency, perfection, which is hypothetical, distant future. Yes, maybe. But we know perfectly well that even with the best intentions, people could not be equal. Why should we have equality in the, say, legal system? Myself, I'm considering myself a law-abiding citizen, and a person who comes here to rob and shoot, say, the United States administration under Carter, imported thousands of Cuban criminals. They were non-criminals, yet they were accepted. Do you think it's fair if myself and my wife from Philippines, who work like a, excuse me, horse as a lab technician in the hospital, should have the same rights as a criminal from Cuba? Why? And yet we repeat as parrots, equality, equality, equality. And the Soviet propaganda system helps us to believe that equality is something which is desirable. Democracy, as it was established by fathers of this country, of this system in the last century, is not equality. It's the system where different people, unequal people, have a chance to survive and help each other in constant competition, in constant perfection, not in equality, which is superimposed from a godfather or a nice person in Washington, D.C. And the absolute equality exists in Soviet Union, quote-unquote equality. Everybody is equal in dirt, except some people are more equal than the others in Politburo. So, the moment you bring a country to the point of almost total demoralization, when nothing works anymore, when you are not sure whether it is right or wrong, good and bad, but there's no division between evil and good, when even the leaders of church sometimes say, well, violence for the sake of justice, especially social justice, is justified in the countries like Nicaragua, El Salvador, well, maybe Rhodesia, and we listen to them and say, yeah, probably it's true. Is it true? No, it is not true. Violence is not justified, especially for the sake of quote-unquote social justice introduced by Marxist-Leninists, that is my former colleagues from Novosti Press Agency. Okay, so we reached that point. The next step is destabilization. Again, this word says for itself what it is. To destabilize all the relations, all the accepted institutions and organizations in a country of your enemy. How you do it? You don't have to send a battalion of KGB agents to blow up bridges. No. You let them do it themselves. The area of application is, again, it's narrower now. Not like the previous case. The overt legitimate actions of the KGB in this case would be hardly noticeable. There is no crime if a professor who recently went to USSR introduces a course of Marxism-Leninism in a Californian college, for example. Nobody is going to come to his doorstep and say, okay, mister, come, you are under arrest. No, it's not a crime. It's not even considered a moral crime against your country. So the area of application here is narrowing down to economy, again, labor relations, right? To law and order, plus military. And economy, law and order. Yes, and again, the media, but wider scope, little bit different. I'll explain later. Okay, basically 3 areas. Economy. The radicalization of bargaining process. If on that stage we still could achieve, theoretically, some positive compromise between the negotiating sides with say, the arbitrary, introduction of arbitrary judges, a third side, objectively judging the demands of both sides. Here it's radicalization. On the stage of destabilization, we cannot come to compromise even within a family. The husband and wife couldn't figure out which is better. Husband wants his kids to eat at the table, and wife wants a child to roam around the room and drop food all over the floor. They cannot come to compromise unless they start a fight. It's impossible to reach a compromise, constructive compromise, between neighbors. Some people say, I don't like you to watering your lawn at that time because exactly at that time I'm walking my dog and he's getting nervous. He cannot pass his bowels, you know. So they cannot compromise. They go to a civil court or something like that. Radicalization of human relations. No more compromise. Fight, fight, fight. The normal, traditionally accepted relations are destabilized. The relations between teachers and students in schools and colleges. Fight. The relations between, in economical sphere, between laborers and employers are further radicalized. No more acceptance of the legitimacy of demands of workers. Unlike Japanese, with the theory Z, if you ever heard about it, where the workers are involved in the decision-making process, therefore they don't have moral incentive to fight their bosses. In the United States, it's just the opposite. The harder is the fight, the better. The more heroic they look. When the Greyhound network was on strike recently, the correspondents of local TV networks all over the United States were approaching the strikers, and they say, oh yes, we are doing something nice. They looked like heroes and they were proud. There was some family, the husband was a bus driver. Now they decided in a protest against the bosses to camp somewhere in the forest. And they were presented to the audience as a heroic, nice people. You see? The violent clashes between passengers, picketers, and the strikers are presented as something normal. 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would be angry, say, why so much hatred? Today we are not. We say, well, it's commonplace. Radicalization, militarization sometimes, as I explained on that stage, I took a step a little bit further. Shooting people. Okay, law and order now also is pushed into the area where previously people settled their differences peacefully and legitimately. Now we are getting with this court cases in the smallest irrelevant cases. We cannot solve our problems anymore. The society at large becomes more and more antagonistic between individuals, between groups of individuals, and the society at large. The media puts himself in the opposition to the society in general, at large. Separate, alienated. Okay? On that stage, you remember I was talking a couple of hours ago about the sleepers. That's when the students from, say, United States, if they are trained in Lumumba University, or developing nations, that's the students I was dealing with, are being sent back from the Soviet Union here. Or if they were already in the United States, in the country, which is the object of subversion, they spring to action. The sleepers go up. They slept for 15 to 20 years. Now they become leaders of groups, preachers, I don't know, public figures. Prominently they actively include themselves in a political process. All of a sudden we see a homosexual. 15 years ago he did his dirty job and nobody cared. Now he makes it a political issue. A political issue. He demands recognition, respect, human rights, and he rallies a large group of people. And there are violent clashes between him and police, his group and ordinary people, no matter what. It's black against white, yellows against green, doesn't matter where his division line goes. As long as this group come into antagonistic clash, sometimes militantly, sometimes with firearms, that is destabilization process. The sleepers, many of whom are simply KGB agents, become leaders of the process of destabilization. Doesn't mean that Comrade Andropov sends Comrade Ivanov to the United States. The person who takes care is already here. He is a respected citizen of the United States. Sometimes he gets money from various foundations for his legitimate struggle for, I don't know, human rights, women's rights, kid lib, prison lib, whatever. There are sympathetic Americans who donate their money to him. This stabilization process usually leads directly to the process of crisis. In case of developing nations, that's the area where I was active. The process starts when the legitimate bodies of power, the social structure collapse. It cannot function anymore. So instead, we have artificial body injected into society, such as non-elected committees. You remember I was talking about them here. Social workers who are not elected by people, media who are self-appointed rulers of your opinion, some strange groups which claim that they know how to lead society forward. They don't usually. All they care is how to collect donations and sell their own concocted ideology, mixture of religion and ideology. Here, we have all this artificial body claiming power. If the power is denied to them, they take it by force. In case of Iran, for example, all of a sudden we have revolutionary committees. What kind of revolution? There was no revolution yet, and yet they had the committees. They were taking power of judgment. They had the power of execution, they had the power of legislation, and that they had the power of judicial. All of them combined in one person, who is half-baked intellectual, sometimes graduated from Harvard University or Berkeley. He comes back to his country and he thinks that he knows the answer to all the social, economical problems. Okay? Crisis is when society cannot function any more productively. It collapses, obviously. That's the word for crisis. So therefore, the population at large is looking for a savior. The religious groups are expecting a Messiah to come. The workers say, we have family to feed. Let's have a strong government, maybe socialist government, centralized, when somebody put the employers on their place and let us work. We are sick and tired of going to strike and missing overtime and all that stuff. We need some strong man, strong government, a leader, a savior is needed. Population is sick and tired already. And here we are. We have a savior. Either a foreign nation comes in, or the local group of leftists, Marxists, no matter what they call themselves, Sandinista, a reverend or some sort, Bishop Muzureva, like in Zimbabwe, doesn't matter. A savior comes and says, I will lead you. So we have two alternatives here. Civil war and invasion. Okay? See how it goes? Civil war, we know what it is. Lebanon is the best example. The civil war, which was artificially implanted in Lebanon by injection of force of PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. Invasion we have in many other countries like Afghanistan, name any East European country, it was invaded by the Soviet army. But the result is the same. The next stage is normalization. Normalization is a very ironic word, of course. It is borrowed from 1968 situation in Czechoslovakia, when the Soviet propaganda and after them New York Times declared the country is normalized. The tanks moved into Prague, so there is no more Prague Spring, there is no more violence. Normalization. At that stage, the self-appointed rulers of the society don't need any revolution anymore. They don't need any radicalism anymore. So this is the reverse from destabilization. Basically, it is stabilizing the country by force. So all the sleepers and activists and social workers and liberals and homosexuals and professors and Marxists and Leninists are being eliminated physically sometimes. They've done their job already. Okay? They are not needed anymore. The new rulers need stability to exploit the nation, to exploit the country, to take advantages of the victory. Okay? So no more revolutionaries, please. And that's exactly what happens in a number of countries. You remember Bangladesh? This is the crisis in which I was instrumental. First they had Mujibur Rahman. In 1971, he was the leader of People's Party, Awami League, with mustache like Stalin. He was in Russia many times. In 5 years, he was shot by his former colleagues, Marxists. He fulfilled his function. In Afghanistan, it happened 3 times. First there was Taraki, then there was Amin, now there's Babrak Karmal. They killed each other successively, one after another. The moment he fulfills his duty, the first one demoralized country, the second destabilized, the third one brought it to crisis. Goodbye, comrades. Babrak Karmal comes from Moscow and put into the seat of power. Same thing happened in Grenada recently. Maurice Bishop, Marxist, was killed by Austin, what's his name, General something, who was also a Marxist. Right? So no more revolutions, please. Normalization now. From now on, no more strikes, no more homosexuals, no more women lib, no more kid lib, no more lib, period. A good, solid, democratic, proletarian freedom. That's it. Now, to reverse this process takes enormous effort. When today, United States had to invade Grenada to reverse the process of subversion. Some people say, boy, this is not good, it's not kosher to invade the beautiful country, island of Grenada. Well, why didn't you stop the process here, when Grenada was just approached by leftists? Why not to prevent Maurice Bishop to come in power in the first place? Did Grenadians want him? Very questionable. They didn't know who was Maurice Bishop in the first place. He came to power by coup d'etat himself. Okay? No, we let the situation develop further and further and further until the crisis and normalization very soon. And then the United States decided to invade country, discovering that the country was absolutely a military base for the Soviet Union. Of course it's a drastic measure. Of course it's a pity that Marine Corps had to lose, what, 17 lives. Very bad. Why not to stop the process before it comes to crisis? Oh no, intellectuals will not let you. It's interference into domestic affairs. They're very careful not to let American administration to interfere in domestic affairs of Latin American countries. They don't mind Soviet Union interfering in these affairs. Okay. So to reverse this process from here, it takes only and always military force. No other force on earth can reverse this process at this point. At this point, it does not take military invasion of the United States Army. It takes strong action, like in Chile, a CIA covert involvement to prevent the savior from outside to come into power and to stabilize country before it erupts into civil war. Stabilize country before it erupts into civil war. Okay? Support the right-wing conservative forces. By money, by crooks or love, doesn't matter. Stabilize the country. Don't let the crisis develop into civil war or invasion. Oh no, your liberals will say it's against the law. The Congress will not appropriate money for covert actions of CIA. Why not? Should we wait till the normalization come and Soviet tanks land in Los Angeles airport? Now, at that point, at the point of destabilization, also the process could be reversed. Again, easily than this. No CIA involvement at this point. You know what it takes here? Restriction of some liberties for small groups which are self-declared enemies of the society. As simple as that. Oh no, the media and liberals will tell you this is against the American Constitution. How can we, by force, deny the civil rights to criminals, for example? It's not good. Okay? So we allow them to. Okay, if you allow the criminals to have civil rights, go on and bring the country to the crisis. This is a bloodless way to do. Curb the rights. I mean, not to put them in prison. No, I'm not talking about putting all the gays from San Francisco in the concentration camp. Do not allow them to take political force. Do not elect them to the seats of power, whether it is municipality level, state level, or federal level. It has to be beaten in the heads of American voters that a person like that in the seats of power is an enemy. Do not be afraid of this word. It is an enemy. If he is not an enemy here, he will be here. Later on, he will be shot, of course. But at this point, he is an enemy. Okay? You are doing great service by denying him a right to capitalize on his own crazy ideas and become a powerful man, a man who uses the seat of power. Restriction of certain freedoms and permissiveness at that point would prevent sliding into crisis and probably will return the process of destabilization. To curb unlimited power, monopolistic power of trade unions, here, at that point, would save economy from collapsing. To introduce a law to stop private companies of raping public opinion's mind in the direction of consumerism. No company must have a right to force you into buying more unless you want it. There must be a law. You want to advertise your car? Okay. But not a single mentioning of buying it now and saving money. It must be against the law to force people to consume more. Self-restraint. Previously, before this process started, the self-restraint was a business of church, religion. Because our preachers, the fathers of church, would tell us, material values are good, but it's not the prime function of human being. Because you have to live with something. Obviously, the design for our life is not to consume more deodorants. There must be something greater. If such a complicated instrument as human body was created, obviously there must be some higher purpose for that. And it's very easy to avoid destabilization by denying the greedy companies one little freedom, one little liberty, forcing you into turning yourself into processors of unwanted products and goods. They turn you into machines, like the worm who there's inlet and outlet. So, and how long an average appliance lasts these days? Less than a year. Why? Where's workmanship? Oh, we want you to buy more. Okay. Destabilization process could be easily overcome if, as I say, the society, by its own will or after persuasion by the leaders, will come to the idea of self-restraint. It's so hard, we want to consume more, but you have to. Unless you will come to this stage, when, as we say in Russia, if Sahara Desert ever becomes a communist state, there will be shortage of sand. So you have to curb your... You have to curb your expectations at this point before it's too late. But no, we don't want to do it. Demoralization process. Again, it's the easiest thing to reverse. First of all, by restricting import of propaganda. The easiest thing to do. Unlimited, unrestrained import of Soviet literature, Soviet journalists, giving Soviet propaganda and ideological agitators equal time on American TV network. It has to be stopped. And it's easy. They won't be offended, mind you. As a matter of fact, they will respect America more. But when my former colleague Vladimir Posner appears on Nightline, and Ted Koppel asks him, well, Vladimir, what do you think about this? And what can he think? He is an instrument of propaganda. He thinks what Comrade Andropov tells him to think. He's just a nice, articulate mouthpiece of the Soviet subversion system. And Ted Koppel makes you believe that my friend Vladimir Posner thinks the process of demoralization may not have started at all if at that point the country, which is a recipient of subversion, actively, not violently, but actively, prevents importation of foreign ideology. I don't want America to follow the pattern of ancient Japan. You don't have to shoot every foreigner when it approaches the sacred borders of the United States. But when he offers you a junk in the disguise of very shiny something, you have to tell him, no, we have our own junk. If at that point the society is strong, brave, and conscientious enough to stop importation of ideas which are foreign, then the whole chain of events could be prevented. Recently I've been to the Philippines, and I was shocked how in big cities like Manila, children listen to deafening music. A melodious nation with long traditions of good, nice ethnic music, introduced by Spanish long time ago, maybe 2 centuries, 3 centuries ago, I don't remember how long. All of a sudden listen to musical garbage, blasting their radios at full blast, at full volume. Why? In India, I spent many years watching the reactions of Indians walking out of movie theaters after seeing Hollywood production. They couldn't figure out why Americans are so wasteful. They smash their cars, their shiny cars, every 5 minutes. How come they shoot each other for $500,000? Is it true that they're so obsessed with sex? Can you imagine showing a movie where each 5 minutes there's a copulation on the screen to a country like India with long tradition of respect to these private matters, or to Pakistan? And United States expect these people to respect you? No way. Oh yes, they will see the movie. They'll pay 5 rupees to see that garbage. But they walk out and will tell their kids, don't respect Americans. Don't be like Americans. See? So, the process of demoralization could be stopped right here, both as an expert and as an import. And that takes one step, one very important thing to do. You don't have to expel all the KGB agents from Washington, D.C. The most difficult and at the same time the simplest answer to the subversion is to start it here and even before, by bringing back the society to religion, something that you cannot touch and eat and put on yourself, but something that rules society and makes it move and preserve it. A Soviet scientist, Shafarevich, who has nothing to do with religion, he is a computer scientist, did a very intensive research on the history of socialist countries. He calls socialist or communist any country with a centralized economy and a pyramidal style of power structure. And he discovered, actually he didn't discover it, he just brought to attention of his readers, that civilizations like Mohenjo-Daro in the river Indus area, like Egypt, like Maya, Incas, like Babylonian culture, collapsed and disappeared from the surface of Earth. The moment they lost religion, as simple as that, they disintegrated. Nobody remembers about them anymore. Well, distantly. So, the ideas are moving society and keeping mankind as a society of human beings, intelligent, moral agents of God. The facts, the truth, the exact knowledge may not. All the sophisticated technology and computers will not prevent society from disintegrating and eventually dying out. Have you ever met a person who would sacrifice his life, freedom, for the truth like that? This is truth. I never met a person who said, this is truth and I'm ready to shoot me. To defend the truth. Right? But millions sacrifice their life, freedom, comfort, everything for things like God, like Jesus Christ. It's an honor. Some martyrs in the Soviet concentration camp died. And they died in peace, unlike those who shouted, "Long live Stalin," knowing perfectly well that he may not live long. Something which is not material moves society and helps it to survive. And the other way around. The moment we turn into 2 by 2 is 4 and make it a guiding principle of our life, our existence, we die. Even though this is true, and this we cannot prove. We only can feel and have faith in it. So the answer to ideological subversion, strangely enough, is very simple. You don't have to shoot people, you don't have to aim missiles and Pershings and cruise missiles at Andropov's headquarters. You simply have to have faith and prevent subversion. In other words, not to be a victim of subversion. Don't try to be a person who in judo is trying to smash your enemy and being caught by your hand. Don't strike like that. Strike with the power of your spirit and moral superiority. If you don't have that power, it's high time to develop it. And that's the only answer. That's it.
Thank you.